Good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, the music has stopped, so I think that's my cue to say good evening. Welcome to everyone that has joined us in looking at the chat. We have so many different amazing individuals joining us from so many different places. And that's what makes this sacred space and birthing magic because you are joining us, and together we are going to be able to create a completely new dynamic because we have some extremely dynamic presenters with us this evening. And I am excited to one, hear what they have to share with us, two, listen to what you learn from them, and three, hear what your commitment is to making birthing magic happen in your location. So, with getting that started, because we only have an hour together, let me begin to share with you about who these two dynamic presenters are. First, we have Dr. Alice, and I had to ask how to pronounce this. So, I'm going to hope that I get it correct. Dr. Alice Obobi. She is an associate professor at Baylor College of Medicine with years of experience as a pediatrician and neonatologist. Born and raised in Ghana, West Africa, Dr. O, that we're going to make it short, Dr. O's international background provides her with a unique perspective on the systemic health disparities that drive maternal and infant mortality in marginalized communities. Dr. O serves as an inclusion and equity ambassador with the Office of Institutional Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity at Baylor College of Medicine. But more importantly, in this capacity, she's a driving force. And I like that part, a driving force in the recruitment of medical students and provides critical mentorship to post baccalaureate, and I love that, students. In addition to her clinical credentials, Dr. O holds an MBA from Rice University, so she's double qualified, allowing her to bridge the gap between medical excellence and strategic organizational health. She also serves as a board member of the very organization that is hosting this, Birthing the Magic Collaborative. So let's give some love in the chat for Dr. O. Secondarily, we have Dr. Jamile Jackson. Okay, so I nailed that. Okay, I nailed it. Wonderful. Henceforth, forevermore known in this space as Dr. Y. She is an ergonomics and safety engineer, author, and the CEO of Nurtured by Design. Her career shifted from corporate engineering to maternal infant health after the premature birth of her son Zachary in 2001. When Zachary was just 3 weeks old, and when I read this, my heart skipped a beat. A tropical storm caused a hospital power failure, and it was Yamile's own skin to skin contact. Can you imagine that? Your newborn baby and your skin to skin contact. And that just, again, I just have to stay there because that's how imperatively important this is. And her husband's manual ventilation that kept Zachary alive. This transformative experience led her to apply her 4 year engineering degree and expertise in risk management to neonatal care, resulting in the creation of the Zaki. And you're going to actually learn more about the Zaki. So we have a lot of information. I've already taken up 8 minutes of the time that we have to share with you, but more importantly, 8 minutes of the time that Dr. O and Dr. Y have to share with you. So, with that being said, I'm going to turn it right over to Dr. O.
Thank you so very much, Karen. That was an excellent introduction. And thank you for all our participants who chose to spend their evening with us today. This topic is very dear to me as well in my clinical practice and also as I deal with mothers with their babies. So we call it the sacred bond It's the magic of skin to skin kangaroo care. I like to call it heart to heart because basically you have the heart of your baby against your heart, two hearts beating together to keep each other. Next slide. So what is kangaroo care? Basically, it's the skin to skin contact between the caregiver and the baby. Most of the time, it is between the mother, especially when it is immediately after delivery. We want as much skin to skin contact as possible, so usually the baby wears only the diaper and it plays right against the chest. Now, if it's the baby who has just been delivered, the baby is completely naked against the mother's naked skin. The baby is then covered for warmth. This can be done by the mother, the father, or a caregiver. Next slide. We talk of the golden hour. The golden hour is the first hour after birth. Now, if a baby is delivered, full-term baby, no problems, baby comes out crying, does not require any resuscitation, then that baby should remain with the mother. Whilst the cord is still attached, the baby is placed next to the mother on the mother's chest whilst we wait for delayed cord clamping these days is the usual. While the cord is still pulsating until it is cut, the baby stays with the mother. It helps babies adjust to life outside the womb. Instead of the baby being taken away to a warmer, the mother's baby is providing that warmth for the baby. And this supports the baby's natural body rhythms and promotes immediate bonding and emotional connection. Next slide. Many studies have shown that this transition stabilizes the baby's heart rate. It keeps the baby's breathing steady. It maintains healthy temperature. It even helps to support regulatory mechanisms in the baby. It even supports blood sugar balance in a newborn baby. Next slide. Many studies have shown that this contact supports brain development. As you can see in this picture, this is a baby who is receiving care, most likely in the neonatal intensive care unit, who is receiving skin-to-skin kangaroo care with the father, against the father's naked chest, while the baby has a nasal cannula in place. It improves sleep patterns. It encourages the baby to be calm and quiet. And it really has shown that it does support the baby's brain to develop. Next slide. Another very, very important aspect is in boosting breastfeeding, especially when the baby has freshly been born. The baby has been cut off from the umbilical cord. That's where the baby is getting all its nutrition. And the most beautiful thing is to get the baby to the breast as soon as possible. There's nothing better than skin to skin care. The baby gets used to the mother's smell. The baby gets used to the mother's body. The baby is right next to the breast. It's a seamless transition to breastfeeding. It improves the baby's latch and milk supply, and it definitely increases breastfeeding success rates. Next slide. This is a beautiful picture of a mother holding her newborn baby. It does increase trust and attachment, reduces stress for the baby and the parent. It's the most beautiful thing that the baby is right against the mother. It encourages oxytocin release. We try to term it the love hormone, which helps with breast and helps the mother and the baby bond further. Next slide. Studies have shown, and we see this clinically, this is so calming for babies that it reduces crying, it lowers stress hormone levels, and promotes relaxation for both the baby and the caregiver. Next slide. This is another example of parents in the neonatal intensive care unit. especially because this is used quite often and should be used all the time in a neonatal intensive care unit uh, for babies, irrespective of their gestational age. The smallest babies can have skin-to-skin care, even when they are on ventilators or on support. There are very, very few instances when the babies are too sick to be held. Most of the time, they are stable enough to be held. And it does improve weight gain. It reduces the risk of infections. And it has been shown to actually shorten hospital stays. Next slide. The benefits for the parents are immense. It makes parents feel a complete part of the baby's care, especially when we are in the NICU. If you have preterm babies in the NICU and the mother knows that her body can provide warmth and can provide all the benefits that we have talked about before, then the mother really feels, or the parent or caregiver feels a real part of this baby's transition into the outside world. And it boosts confidence. This is something that they can do. It's not being done by providers. It boosts confidence in their caregiving abilities. It does reduce anxiety and depression risk. And it promotes emotional well-being for the mother as well. Next slide. So the question comes, when do we use kangaroo care? Now, right after birth, if possible. The only reason you can't do it is if a baby has come out and requires to be resuscitated and requires immediate assessment. But if a baby comes out well, crying and breathing well, then that baby can remain with the mother for the first hour. Um, Hospital staff can always do all their transitional care whilst the baby remains with the mother. Usually in hospitals, we'll be doing every 15 minutes of vital signs because the baby is adjusting to the outside world. And so that should be allowed for nursing staff to come in and assess the baby. It can be done during the hospital stay. It can be done at home. Sometimes the question is, how long do you do kangaroo care? The babies love to be with their mothers. And so there's no time limit for it. If both of you are enjoying this, then it should happen. It's helpful during feedings because it helps the baby to root well and transition to feeding. Kangaroo care is used if you go to developing countries, very premature babies stay in the hospital until they can maintain temperature. And much of the care that happens in hospitals here in developed countries is actually happening at home with the mother pretty much attached to the baby most of the day. And that's how the baby is kept warm. So this is a practice that can be done not just immediately after birth, not just in the neonatal intensive care unit. It can be done safely at home, so long as we will talk about what needs to be done at home because there's also safe sleep. So once the caregiver is awake and alert, then that can happen. Next slide. So what are the safety tips? Ensure your baby's airway is clear and that the baby's head is turned to the side. Avoid any loose blankets near the face. Most importantly, the caregiver should be awake and alert. If you are in the hospital during the immediate golden hour, there's a nurse coming in every 15 minutes to check on you and your baby because this baby has just been born. If you are in the neonatal intensive care unit, babies are continuously monitored. So even though they are skin to skin and they seem prone, the babies are continuously monitored. If you are at home, you have to remember that you shouldn't be doing kangaroo care in a couch, in a soft bed. These are not safe places. You shouldn't be sleeping. It is not a sleep position for the mother. It is not a time for father to keep baby on his chest and sleep all night. The caregiver should be awake and alert. If you are feeling sleepy, the baby needs to be transferred to a safe sleep position. So it's very important to realize that this is not a sleep position. This is a time when you can continuously monitor your baby. So if you're doing kangaroo care, you should be awake and alert. And if you feel the feeling of sleep is coming in, there should be somebody else there to help supervise and take over so that both mother and baby can have the rest that is needed. Next slide. It is important that families know about kangaroo care and are educated about its benefits so that this practice can be continued and encouraged, and healthcare workers and everybody who cares for babies can advocate for skin-to-skin care in a safe manner. Next slide. So what are the key takeaways? This is simple, this is natural, this is powerful practice. I refer to my worldview and my global experience. Back home in Ghana, where I am from, many mothers carry their babies on their backs, and the babies are with them throughout the whole day. While whatever they are doing, the baby is close to them. It reduces colic. It keeps babies very content. So it is possible to do this even in our environment. It supports the baby's physical and emotional health. It has benefits for both the mother and the baby, and it's easy to implement. So these are really, kangaroo care is just a very, very natural way that mothers and babies and caregivers and babies, fathers and babies can be together. Next slide. This should be a point where I transition to Yamile for her to give us real life experience of what kangaroo care is and what it means. So Yamile, over to you.
Thank you so much. Well, I am Jamila Jackson. I am an engineer. My PhD is in ergonomics, human factors, and safety engineering, and I had it before I had Zach. Zach is my son that was born weighing less than 2 pounds in 2001, and he will be 25 this Friday. I am the inventor of the Zaki. I'll talk to talk to you about that in a minute, and also Kangaroo Care Day, and I'll tell you a little bit more. So what I want to talk about today is what has to be true for closeness to happen in real birth conditions, especially when families are new, they are scared, and when babies are fragile. And I know in the chat, I saw somebody that is going to have a baby in 2 weeks. So my goal is that you hold your baby and you're convinced that you're going to hold your baby as long as you can. So we need to make a shift in mindset. One thing is that kangaroo care is nice to do, but now it has to be a process. It has to be something that we do intentional and that we plan for it. It is no longer something nice to do, which is what I was introduced to when Zach was born 25 years ago, that it was something nice for you and your baby. And I would be like, okay, well, I'll do anything nice. Right now, there is mountains of evidence of, of why we need to do it. And the kangaroo care, just as a little bit of history, it started in Colombia. I am Colombian, so I heard about it when I was a girl. And it was in the news. Not that I was a news junkie, but we only had 2 channels. So it was all over the news that Colombia had invented this method for babies that were premature babies. The doctors didn't have, enough incubators. So basically they told the moms, we don't have a space for your baby. So I think you just need to hold them. And tacitly, I think they said, and let him die there. But instead of dying, these babies started thriving. So they started doing a lot of research. And basically, to me, the research is when it was not is no longer ethical to do a research with and without kangaroo care, because we already know the benefits of kangaroo care, and we cannot tell a mom you cannot hold your baby because you're in a study. So studies have to be, kangaroo care in two different things, but not kangaroo care or not kangaroo care. And so in the United States, it has been slower for us to get into kangaroo care. I believe is because we have this thought that, well, we have incubators. So, and we have doctors and we have the best equipment and the best nurses. So we shouldn't need that because that was, invented for babies that didn't have incubators. But the evidence has changed that and is changing that. So we need to make it a standard of care. It is the recommendation of the WHO that the babies are held as close to birth as possible, and including for premature babies. And also that they hold between 8 and 24 hours when it's possible. So I always say that, the minimum is 1 hour, because 1 hour is one sleep cycle. When you do it after birth, the 1 hour, it's really good, but 2 hours is even better if you want to do exclusive breastfeeding. It also, like Dr. Obobi said, it helps with heating. So when they are on the mom, as soon as they're born, they are going to heat up within 5 minutes instead of 30 minutes if they are in an incubator or in a warmer. So it is basically better physiological, not only because it's nice, but there are all the benefits that she already said. So it is not something that you just do and you just say, okay, let's do it, but you do actually have to plan for it. I held Zachary, and it was, what they said, it was true. That is the best thing that I could have done. I also fell asleep with Zach. And it was the best sleep that I ever had in those 5 months that he was in the NICU. I also knew that I put him in danger because I fell asleep and my hands were the ones holding his safety. So my mission a little bit later became, how do we keep the baby safe, even if the parents fall asleep by mistake or because they fall asleep? And the reason that we fall asleep is because we are sleep deprived, especially those that are delivering. Who knows how long these moms haven't slept, so they want to sleep, right? And they're with medication, and they just had the baby, and then if you hold the baby, then you produce oxytocin, and then their adrenaline is down because you already have your baby. And then you're in a comfortable chair finally, and you can sleep. So many times we have to choose between letting the mom rest or having the baby on skin to skin. So I'm going to talk about what are the things that we also need to do to support this mom so we don't have to choose one or the other. So the implementation gap is really big because we usually see in hospitals, we need to do kangaroo care. But the policy says we need to do kangaroo care, but it is encouraged, but we don't, we have evidence. So the policy is right. But then the policy doesn't explain what, who can do it, how can you do it, for how long, what are the contraindications, what are the things that we need to think about, how do we do it, how do we talk to them. So the practice is not always going to happen, because it depends on how comfortable the nurse is about doing the transfer, how comfortable the mom is on holding. Dads are very risk averse. So if the baby, for example, is intubated, and you tell the dad, do you want to hold the baby? And the first thing they ask is, what can happen when I hold? And you say, well, if the baby slides, they can extubate. The first thing that a dad says is, let my wife do it. So we are delaying the kangaroo care for dads, and to me, that was not acceptable. We need to get dads to, or non-birthing parents to, to hold us as soon as possible. So in the ICU, there are many things that happen, and you need to plan for all of them. There is how fragile the baby is. Like I said, I held Zachary the first day, and when I was introduced to it, then Zachary was born on a Tuesday, and on Wednesday I went to see him, and the nurse asked me, "Do you want to hold him?" I have never seen a preemie baby in my life. I've never seen a small baby of, just less than 2 pounds. And he seemed to be comfortable and silent and quiet. And I told the nurse no, which is a very, very natural thing to say. What is not natural is to say, it's okay, we can do it later. What the nurse told me was, because I said no, but I said why. I said, I could not give him a healthy start. So I hurt him, and I don't want to hurt him anymore. And the nurse said, you will hurt him more if you don't hold him. And that sentence from that nurse is what has me working on kangaroo care for 25 years. If she would have said anything else, that's okay. Whenever you're ready, we can try another time. I understand anything. I feel that I would have not had this journey of kangaroo care that I had. Parents are scared, whether you tell them or not. I have heard people say, holding the baby is natural. Yes, it is natural, but when you're in the ICU, nothing is natural. They have cables, they have machines, they have beeps, they have alarms, they have, people coming all the time. It is an intensive care unit. So things happen all the time. So it is not the wonderful, beautiful birth that we thought we were going to have. So we're scared. There is a lot of things that we don't know what is going to happen. There is workflow. Everybody needs something differently. And then the fatigue, not only for the parents, but the babies. The babies are tired. Babies need to be with their mother and their father, because when they're not, then they are stressed. Imagine if you are sleeping by yourself and you don't know anybody, you don't know where you are. You're using your organs when they're earlier than that. They're not developed yet. You're using your eyes when they are not developed. You're using your lungs in air instead of water. So all that, it causes fatigue on everybody. So the answer is not wait for a time that is easy. Is what do we need to do to make it happen? So there are several roadblocks that we see for kangaroo care. And it is not, it is, it is not the fault of a person. It is not the personal, the personal decision of a nurse. it shouldn't be. It should be a policy. It should be already a system instead of, because I remember 25 years ago, not everybody let me hold Zach. So I would know the type of day I was going to have just by looking at who is the nurse that is taking care of Zach. So am I going to have to please let me hold him? Or they would be like, okay, let's get you holding. Until I realized like the nurses are so busy that sometimes it's not that they don't want to offer it, is that they don't remember to offer it because they have 1,000 things to do. So the parent needs empowerment to say, hey, is it possible that I can hold my baby? Like Dr. Bobby said, babies need to be held. So we don't want to wait for the nurse to remember one more thing. So the parents should feel empowered to say, hey, can I hold? If they are in NICU too, their babies are just, waiting to get a little bit better to go home, they could even do the transfer by themselves. So let's empower them. They need training, what to do, when to do it, all those things that we teach the nurses are the same things that we need to tell the parents. We need to set clear expectations. If we tell them, we are a kangaroo care center here. So when you come to see your baby and to take care of your baby, we want you to hold for 80 to 90% of the time that you're here. We need to have them to have confidence that they're not going to drop the baby, that the baby is not going to be hurt by them. I just went to a couple of NICUs in Europe, and I was in Sofia, and I was able to talk to a mom, and the mom said, I don't want to infect my baby if I hold them in skin to skin. And that is education. Moms do not infect their babies. On the contrary, they act like a antibiotic for the babies. So all those things we need to teach the parents, because parents don't. Obviously, we want to tell them to take a shower before, but they're not going to infect their babies. And then obviously their emotional and physical safety. The staff needs training, same thing as the parents, and the training on kangaroo care should be the same for the parents and the staff, like I said before. Now, transferring, it depends on the condition of the baby. Does the baby the baby is intubated? The baby is just waiting to go home. So do we need to teach the parents how to do it at home, and then have a backup plan? Not all the babies can be held 24 hours. So what are you going to do when you cannot hold a baby? How are you going to talk to the parent when the baby cannot be held? And then in the unit, what kind of equipment do you have? Do you have chairs that are comfortable? I remember I held in a beautiful recliner, and I also held in one of those rockers that were wood in one of the hospitals. So, see what you can have, but having a chair, it's a must. However, if you don't have chairs, you can also hold when you're standing. So if you don't have a chair, if there is, then you do it standing, but safely, which is what I saw in Sofia, that there was a mom holding the baby and she was standing, and she was like a week after the C-section, and it was just terrible. Now, what do you do documentation? Many of the things that you want is to see, why did we stop the session? How long did they hold? These are clear expectations. How long should we try to kangaroo care? What if the baby alarms? So things that we need to tell the parents, this machine will tell you this, and when to call the nurse. That's one of the most important things. When to call for help, right? If the baby is changing colors, if the baby's, if the baby fell, if the baby, whatever, when do you do you call the nurse? Babies falling is unfortunately creeping up because we are telling parents that they have to hold longer, and these parents are falling asleep. And they're not doing it because they want to fall asleep. Is the same as me. I just fell asleep. So we have to know, since we know that that risk is happening, we need to work, to mitigate that risk. So what happens? So for example, we have a risk management life cycle. So let's do one risk, establish the context. We are in an NICU and a parent is going to hold, and we're going to have a long session, so she might fall asleep. So that is the risk. The risk is that the mom can fall asleep and the baby can fall or dislodge. So, so we identify the risk, then we analyze it. Are we, how many times is it going to happen? When can it happen? Everything about it. In what instances does it happen? Who is holding the baby? How long is what is the size of the baby? And then we say we want to select what to do. So do we not let them hold? Or do we have a positioning and a chair, positioning device and a chair that allow them to do that? Do we have a person that is like a supporting person that is like within a foot or two of the baby? So if the mom falls asleep, the supporting person can support either to let the mom sleep safely or to help keep the mom awake. And then, you do that, and then you monitor and adapt. Parents are going to fall asleep. You have to, if you leave them long enough, they're going to fall asleep. This is also happening when they're breastfeeding. So it's not just because they're holding their baby, is that they're very, very tired. And holding the baby, you're going to produce oxytocin. You're going to just, this is like the best sleep, if any, that I had in the 5 months that we were in the NICU with Zach. So, if the WHO says it's 8 hours to 24 hours, you have to plan to sleep. You just don't like sleep because there is going to be a problem. But many babies, for example, like in Ghana, they're going home. I saw in Colombia a pair of twins going home weighing 1,200 grams, a little bit bigger than Zachary was born. Those babies have to be in kangaroo care for 24 hours. So they go one in mom, one in dad, and they rotate with the grandparents, it's a family village away, thing, because that baby has to be on kangaroo care 24 hours. So while the mom takes a shower, then the dad holds, and if somebody else, the neighbor, the aunt, somebody has to be holding that baby 24 hours. But we don't tell the parent, you go ahead and hold them for 24 hours. No, we train them. They give them a wrap that holds the baby as well. We need to talk about equity, because there are many, many, many places where we can unknowingly discriminate. Language. Not only what kind of language, like English or Spanish or Portuguese, but what level of education they have. Don't come and talk like, college level, when somebody just arrived to the country, they're just learning the language, or they have a 5th grade level education or level of understanding. So, you need to include everyone, make it very trauma informed. Do they have work that they have to go? In the US, unfortunately, we don't have maternity leave. Do they have transportation? Do they need money for parking? Do they have food? Can you provide something for them? Culture, modesty. A lot of the parents that we talk to, the moms, usually they said, I don't want to hold because I don't want my breast to show. So we need to take care of that. Body type. Are they too big? For example, if they are morbidly obese, you put a baby on the chest, they're going to, sink. Are they going to suffocate? So you need to talk about all these. Do they have fear? What kind of trauma do they have? Are they disabled in any way? Are they recovering from something? Obviously, the moms are, but the dads, do they have, is this like really hard for them? And this kangaroo care helps with mental health for the adult as well. And then always include the non-birthing parents. And kangaroo care can be done by anybody. I always say any healthy chest is better than the mattress. And one thing that you can do super easy is look at the faces of the parents that are holding. Are they scared? Do they, are they smiling, or they are terrified, or they're trying to, try to smile, but, they can, you can tell that they're not that comfortable. So that's important. And so I am an engineer. I decided to move my career from risk management in the oil and gas business here in Houston to designing solutions for babies and parents for non-separation, trauma-informed, family-centered care, developmental care. These are my products. The first one is the Zaki Hug, which it simulates the hands of the parents that stay with the babies. And this is when they are not holding. The Zaki Zak is a wrap to do skin to skin safely, and is for babies that weigh between 1 and 15 pounds, 1, 2, or 3 babies, mom and dad, for any location. And then Kangaroo Care Day, which is this Friday, this is the 15th year. And I started because I realized that we were not talking about kangaroo care. So Kangaroo Care Day gave a raise of awareness of kangaroo care. And then my book that is, called When Your Heart Touches Mine, and is basic information of kangaroo care. And it has a little poem of what holding my son meant to me, which is what I wanted the parents to read out loud to their babies when they're holding. And, this is the Zaki Zak, which I already mentioned, and it's for everybody. And we have triplets here. And then, so the question is, instead of can the baby tolerate kangaroo care, we need to know is if the baby can tolerate not being in kangaroo care, and what can we do to make it safely.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. O and Dr. Y. And I'm not going to talk long because we want to make sure that we get any questions answered from our group. So one of the questions that I saw after that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful scientific foundation that Dr. O presented, and then the cognitive connection that Dr. Y presented, one of the questions that came into the Q&A was, do men actually end up getting the love hormone release during skin to skin? So either one can take that. So Dr. Y, Dr. O, would you like to answer that question?
Oh.
Anybody that holds a baby creates oxytocin.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Everybody. Yeah.
Okay,
And
awesome. So
that's important. For example, when you in many NICUs, you have volunteers that hold babies. Now, the parents have to give permission to do skin to skin, but if they don't have explicit permission to do skin to skin, they can hold them clothed. And holding clothed also produces, relaxation. And so that's why it's important that when you always hold the babies, no matter who it is, if they come out of the safety of the mattress, they need to be held securely. So yeah, but everybody, I mean, who doesn't get,
I
sleep
know.
babies, the best thing
Yeah.
ever.
Yes, yes.
So it is
Okay,
true.
so Dr. O,
Men
did you
can
want to add
also
something?
produce oxytocin and it can get the same, it can give the same feelings. We all know, not to make this X rated or anything like that. We all know that we love to lay our heads on our partner's chests. Um, we know that we love to be held. And it's the same heart-to-heart feeling. They also get the same good feeling. It's a neurotransmitter, and they also have the same oxytocin release for bonding. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we only have 10 more minutes, so I'm going to suggest that everyone in the virtual space take out a sheet of paper because a we're going to do a wrap up that is actually going to serve as cliff notes as it pertains to the sacred bond and skin to skin. So during rapid fire, we're going to be asking some questions. Neither one of you can jump in so that individuals can take the note. Okay, so if does a baby being in a diaper still count as skin to skin? Anyone can answer that. Does a
Are you,
Can you
baby
ask the
being in a
question
diaper
again?
still count as skin to skin?
can I show the position of skin to skin?
Yes, she may. But
That's a
again, I'm trying to
baby in
make
a
sure that they get
diaper.
as much information within the time frame that we have.
Okay. That's a baby in a diaper count for skin to skin?
Yes.
Yes, yes. The baby in a diaper counts for skin to skin. We would love to have the chest clear, not wearing. I- Ideally, the completely naked baby skin to skin is usually after birth, immediately after birth. After that,
Awesome.
even the baby in the NICU is usually in a diaper. Yes,
Yeah.
but we'd like to have the
Awesome.
chest
We want
open.
the diaper to be not higher than the belly button.
Yeah.
So
Okay, take that note, everybody. Not higher than the belly button.
what we want to be contact with the parent is
Yeah.
a diamond between the neck, the two nipples, and the belly button. That is what we want skin to skin. And we want to put the baby, the top of the head by the clavicle of the mom, unless it's after birth and C-section, which it will be diagonal because, they're preparing her. But so the top of the head by the clavicle, the head by the side, hands on the side, flex, not higher than the mouth. So you don't, they still have some air circulation. Middle line from the top of the head to the coccyx, and the legs flexed and the toes to the outside. This is what we want. And this is what you will use something to hold this position. That's what we want. Now, if
Thank you, Dr. Y.
breastfeeding, they can go down like this. If they are pumping, sometimes you can lower the baby so you can pump when they have the baby during skin to skin. So yes, good question.
Thank you. Thank you. So I hope everybody had the opportunity to draw a little stick figure diagram so that when you were talking with your birthing individuals and their support tribe, that you're able to make sure that you're able to show them how to do that because it is so important. Let's see. What other cliff note do I want to make sure that everyone has? What is a way that hospitals and or healthcare centers can provide more access to kangaroo care and skin to skin post delivery. And that's to
Okay.
kind of help the doulas in empowering their birthing individuals or birthing families to advocate for kangaroo care and skin to skin. So, Dr. O, I saw you come right up. Let's go for it.
Okay. So there's need, many things in hospitals will have to start with policy. So this is very important. So it really needs to come as a policy from the department level so that the leaders of the department can push this forward. Now, policy can just live on paper if it is not well implemented. And implementation, correct implementation, requires buy-in. Buy-in from all providers who are involved with the care of the mother and the baby. And to have buy-in, you need to have everyone on the same page. Everything should be open. People's concerns should be addressed. People's fears should be addressed. And everyone needs to be listened to. So one thing that Yamila said was sometimes maybe nursing staff might be overwhelmed. They have too many things going on, too much to do. They may also have their own fears of, for example, a baby in the NICU who is intubated. We are always monitoring that the ET tube or the endotracheal tube should stay in place. That's the lifeline. The nurse is nervous. Sometimes a baby might have what we call umbilical lines, and they think that it can be kinked, or even an IV line might get displaced, and then the baby would lose access. So we need to create that environment where people have buy-in. What they have is what their concerns are not pushed aside, but actually addressed. So everything is in place for this to happen. And then awareness, a lot of awareness. If you really need to push it, there should be placards around. Have you done your kangaroo care today? Make it
Yes.
visible. Make it visible as a part of the care that we provide. Let it be on, nobody should leave the NICU without knowing what kangaroo care is. It's not just hold your baby, it's have you done the kangaroo care today? Talk about it. So make it part of the culture. And when that becomes the culture, it becomes much easier to implement. So that's the
Thank you.
piece that we
Thank
need
you.
to move to.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm going to do one more as I'm thinking before I begin to do our wrap up and allow the wonderful, wonderful Marie to come back on. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking. So this is a two-part question. Two-part question. Does the extended kangaroo skin to skin spoil crying babies? And does it really help boost their brain power?
I will always say you cannot spoil a baby. You cannot spoil a newborn. A newborn should be close to the parents. The first 3 months, you can't spoil that baby. So, and it does boost brain power because it calms the baby. It reduces the stress and the colic. I always say that when I was back home, the way we kept our babies close to us, nobody came to the clinic complaining of colic because the babies were so close to the
Right.
parents all the time. They were just so close to parents all the time. Unfortunately, things are changing as they get more westernized. They try to do what Western cultures do. But when they are very close to them, these babies are really very calm. So it does boost brain development. Keep babies close to you. You cannot spoil a newborn.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, we're at the 2 minute warning. So I would like to not wrap, but simply say, it has been said that necessity is the mother of invention. And one of the things that I love is that Dr. O was able to bring her lived experience and cultural knowledge, in addition to her medical knowledge, into this space. And then Dr. Y, because it was necessary, was able to invent and blend what was already in place in Dr. O's culture to bring it here so that individuals could have the ability to do kangaroo care. And in looking at us when we first came on, there were a lot of doulas and community doulas and nurses and midwives that logged in. Please, please, please make sure, because I'm also a full spectrum doula, I was able to say automatically, as my birthing families are making their birthing wish list, not a birthing plan, because it has to be a wish list so that we can put in place, if this happens, then that. That I need to be, more importantly than just talking about skin to skin, I need to be talking about the kangaroo care and adding something onto that so that if the child does go into a NICU, that we have individuals that can ask the question, is your hospital a kangaroo care friendly facility? And if they are, may I bring in a team of people to be trained so they can give kangaroo care and keep the baby safe when I'm exhausted? So thank you, thank you, thank you for all of the information. Dr. O, standing O for you. Dr. Y, thank you for your why and creating the Zaki. But more importantly, thank all of you for joining us in this sacred space to talk about the sacred bond and birth magic and birthing magic. And you have so many tools that you have gained tonight because of these two phenomenal doctors that we are going to be able to implement. And the charge that I have for you is to not just keep this information, but to share this information and make it part of your daily conversation with birthing individuals, birthing families, with your friends, anyone that has access to individuals that may eventually birth. Marie, I'm going to kick it to you. We are 1 minute over and we want to be respectful of your time. But Dr. O, Dr. Y, thank you so much. Let's give them some love in the chat. Let's give them lots of love in the chat.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for sharing.
Thank you.
Marie, is there anything that you would like to share?
No, I'm not coming on.
Oh,
I don't come on.
okay,
You did it
wonderful.
all, my
Well,
friend. You did it all.
to
We
our
have a
virtual
session on
participants, thank you.
Wednesday. Check our website
Okay.
for our session on Wednesday. And that's all. You did a beautiful job, Karen. This was Karen's first time as a host, and she did a marvelous job. Yay.
So let's everybody come off mute. And on the count of three, let's shower Dr. O and Dr. Y with love. And that can be one sentence. So on the count of 1, 2, 3, everybody come off mute,
They
shower them with
can't.
some
They
love.
can't, Karen. It's a webinar. They can't come off, and I can't get them off fast enough. They just have to do it with
Oh,
heart.
okay. Well, then just keep showing the love in the chat. Keep showing the love in the
Yes,
chat.
yes, yes. They're doing it with all the hearts. Thank you,
Yes,
guys. Thank you
and
so
make
much.
sure you register for any and all upcoming webinars from Birthing the Magic. I guarantee you, the magic that you will feel, the magic that you will learn, and the magic that you will be able to put into your toolbox will not only benefit you as a practitioner, it will empower and benefit the birthing families that you work with. But more importantly, if you take your charge seriously, it will empower generations to come. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining.
And we'll share the recording. We won't share the slides, but we will share the recording. Thank you all. Have a good
Thank
night. Thank
you.
you, Karen.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.